right, so I know you're all aware of recent events, right? In which some take this as an opportunity to show their ignorance. I'm going to use it to show intelligence and take this time to help educate some people into the intricacies of 52 blocks and the subsystems that help make it up. So this week, we're going to dig into that. Let's talk about it.
My bloody history, violence is what you gifted me, made me into a monster. Look at what you did to me. Murdered my sister while she was sleeping in the bed. Enslaved my little brother cause a hoodie on his head. You set me on fire.
So let's talk about it. 52 facts, fiction, and everything in between. So over the years, some of you have heard me refer to 52 blocks as being the Jeet Kune Do of prison fighting arts. The reason I say that is because prior to the creation of 52, there had been other styles in the prison system the guys were using. You had things like Stato, which is the grandfather of all prison fighting styles. Four corners, also known as four walls, which is essentially wall fighting. You had the jailhouse rock, which is dirty boxing and close. Comstock shuffle, Auburn shuffle, Woodburn shuffle, and a couple other odds and ends in between. Now, during my time in the gated community, I was blessed to get the opportunity to train with individuals who were expert in some of those systems. I was also blessed to train with individuals who were masters, who are actually the true grandmasters of 52 blocks. I'd like to share with you and some of the information they shared with me about the subsystems that went into creating 52 blocks, right? Because that's what 52 blocks is. It was a group of guys, each of whom were proficient in boxing, some of whom were really good with the prison fighting arts, one of whom had been a student of Grandmaster Moses Powell. They all pooled their knowledge together while sitting on Rikers Island, and they came up with something they called jailhouse. A lot of times dudes refer to it as housing, right? And then when that thing hit the street, it started being called 52 blocks. But there is a backstory, an origin story. And that's a story of triumph over adversity. Because 52 arts is a system that was born in struggle. What do I mean by that? It would be naive to think that when black people got off the slave ships, they forgot how to fight, especially when you consider some of them had been taken off the battlefields. They lost, they were sold into slavery, they were born over here. It's not like they lost the knowledge of how to fight when they were put on the ships. Oppressed people throughout history have usually found a way to retain their fighting arts, right? We see this with capoeira, we see this with a number of styles, right? They usually disguise it as dance or some type of game. And there are actually games that we play in urban neighborhoods growing up that could, from a certain point of view, have a fighting application. When we look at 52 blocks, we look at the slave trade, right? People sold into slavery, they're on the plantations. There were fights that took place on the plantations for the pleasure of the slave owners. After this, right, slavery was abolished, people were set free, and then the black codes were enacted. So some of the guys who fought in the slave plantations, they went to fight. Chitlin Circuit, they went to fight. Bare knuckle fights, they went to fight in various places. These are points that both Joffrey and I can agree on. This would be where the root of 52 blocks started. Because when the black codes came in, the Jim Crow laws and all that came in, those guys who used to fight, they didn't have anything to do, and now that vagrancy was considered a crime, punishable by incarceration, they would find themselves, some of them, incarcerated. It's not like when they got incarcerated, they forgot everything they learned on the plantation or on the boxing circuit. But now they're in a different environment. They have to fight differently. Things are different. The reason you fight is different. Right? You're not fighting for the pleasure of an owner now. You're fighting to preserve yourself. Self-preservation is the greatest motivator. It needs to evolve. It needs to change in order to fit the environment that it's going to be in. Otherwise, it wouldn't survive. And in this instance, the individual who's doing it wouldn't survive. What I want to do with you all this week is dig into some of that. We're going to take a look at the subsystems that went into the creation of 52 blocks. The things that existed in the prison system before there was a thing called 52 blocks. In a perfect world, we would begin with Stato because it's the grandfather of prison fighting styles, at least here on the East Coast. But due to recent events, and because some people need to be educated more rapidly than others, We'll start with the Auburn Shuffle. Why? Because Joffrey's making it famous, right? And Joffrey's also making a mockery of it. And he's a blind man leading the blind, or maybe the one-eyed man leading the blind. And I want to bring the people back toward the light. So we'll go through each day one of the systems that help to make up 52 blocks, and we'll start with the Auburn Shuffle. So I invite you all to partake in this journey with me, and we can all build and grow together. That Shadow signing off. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you on the other side. Harambee.